committees, and we can just do a round robin around the introduction.
Well, hi, I'm Brian Dahl, President of Downtown Association on the Economic Development Commission for Dallas.
I'm Ted Stonecliffe, transit planner with Chariots.
Jennifer Han, President of Rover Real Estate.
We just do a round robin.
Randy Hyatt, Lakeside Investment Group,
Well, hi,
Dallas, Oregon.
Rita Grady, Executive Director, Polk Community Development Corporation.
Don McBride with SMI Real Estate and Property Management.
Fred Evander with the City of Independence and a resident here.
I'm Alex Basquiat, I'm with Sedcorp.
Dale Darwin, an interested citizen and a walker and bike rider.
Chase will do city manager, city of Dallas. Tom Gilson, the engineering supervisor at the city of Dallas. And Brian Lauder, the city manager. Tyler Curry, economic development specialist at the city of Dallas.
Operations Manager.
Benjamin Curry, economic and community development.
Well, thank you. So the first item of discussion today is we've asked the City of Dallas's Public Works, Tom Gilson, to come and talk about one of the most critical things in the node is looking at the sewer and how are we going to get sewer to this area, right? And that's really, when you look at how you're going to develop a master plan area, sewer is one of the first critical assets in water, power, how's that going to service the area there? City's been very progressive on looking at that. They commissioned a study in 2020, which was the Keller study that showed how sewer design would come forward into the node there. So we asked Tom to come in here today, talk about how the main trunk lines, the main engineering, what that would look like for this development area. Tom, if you would take over here and talk a little bit about this.
Yeah, so you can see up on the screens, this is the kind of general conceptual layout that was the preferred choice from the original technical memo that's Keller put together. It shows how the Lot Creole node and the outline of the Lot Creole node was the original, and so it would have to change with the engineering design that we're about ready to take on. It'll change to encompass the entire node, the new area of the node. But this is how they show the layout being feasible. Shows that the west half of the node can actually gravity down to a manhole at the intersection of Ellendale and Hawthorne, and then gravity down Hawthorne to connect to our existing system closer to Academy Street. Unfortunately, the eastern portion of the node sits too low in order to have gravity work, so we'd be putting the lift station in on the east side of the node, which kind of sits at the lowest point. It'd collect everything that's can't gravity to Ellendale, and then it would pump it from there up to the manhole at Ellendale, which then would become gravity as it comes down. The output of this system was analyzed under the old Lot Creole node layout, which was heavier on residential. It also looked at full build out of Hawthorne, that all of those properties were annexed in and built to the seven residential lots per acre. That they kind of calculated what the output of that would be, and then we hired Jacobs Engineering to do a capacity study of the system from there all the way back to the sewer plant. And so it was determined that, with the capacities that Keller anticipated coming from the Lot Creole node, our existing system has the capacity to take that. So this is really what we're looking at as kind of the starting point for our engineering that's about ready to start taking place. It'll happen this summer. Our goal is to work with the engineering firm through the summer and fall to kind of get the final design in place. And obviously we'll have to tweak this to match whatever layout we come up with through the master planning process. So that we match it with where the roads are going to be, where the heavy commercial or industrial, not commercial or residential zoning is going to be throughout the node. So we'll tweak all that while we're in engineering, but we're hoping that, getting somebody on board, we can get through the design process by the end of the calendar year So hopefully in springtime, we can be bidding it for construction. So timing wise, if everything falls in place and goes according to, you know, our best laid plans, we could be ready for construction, you know, by summertime. I mean, that's kind of it in a nutshell, but I mean, definitely entertain any questions or.
What are the different colors on the map again? Please?
Oh, yeah, so the yellow line is the main gravity line, it's gonna be larger, it's a 12-inch gravity. That's coming from Ellendale down to the connection point at the Academy on Hawthorne. Blue line is just another gravity line that feeds the west side. So the blue and the yellow are both gravity, kind of main trunk lines. The purple lines or magenta lines are kind of the main laterals that would spread out to pick up flows from other parts of the node. And then the green is pressure main that's coming from the lift station. The little green square on the east side there is where the lift station would be positioned, and then it would, you know, pressure main up to.
So the majority of it then is all gravity, come.
For that,
The majority of that's gravity then.
yeah, the majority of it is gravity and a lot of it can be served. By gravity, it's just the lower, you know, the kind of the northern part of the northern and eastern parts that can't quite make it. And granted, you know, maybe the northern part that's ties to the blue gravity line. That, you know, that depending on how things develop, where roads are, stuff that might change on which feeds to the station and which feeds the gravity.
Hey, Tom, since this is a different layout than what was originally scheduled for all the pipes and everything, does the treatment facility, is it able to work all this stuff through and have capacity for that?
Oh, yeah, our treatment plant has capacity.
So a couple things to add what Tom mentioned, and I appreciate the question, is when we did the man analysis, all of the lot from out to that's where the sewer line was going to come from, location lots. They can someone's having to say it's on them. Then that's probably not going to be the case long term. So the only areas really with the new lot realm area, as we look at it back here, that aren't accounted for will be the area to the east on north of Ellendale on this map, and then a little bit of the area to the west, south of Ellendale, the east or west of Hawthorne. So there's a couple of chunks that we added in terms of the demand that those areas might capacity that access the area that goes into Hawthorne. You can put on the academy, we'll be able to see there's room for that additional growth. Sewage is going to be clean from this, so.
Will you eventually put out a physical piece of paper like this with the sewer lines on and all of that kind of stuff?
Eventually, yes.
Yeah, what for distribution, so when we choose which one of these plans. We'll know where sewer lines are, water lines are, all that.
It would be better for you to choose the plan and then we'll figure out where the sewer lines go.
Right.
Because it's us putting sewer lines in and you have. to-
Correct, no, that's what I mean.
Yeah, no, we,
Of course,
I mean, we need to wait for final master plan
Yep.
layout.
sure,
Then we will make the sewer system fit within it.
Yeah.
And once that happens, then yes, it'll be distributable.
Yeah.
On what we have come up with, but for right now. I mean,
Yep.
I mean, we could
And
take a wild guess.
yeah, and I think right now, but you know, concept 4 is.
Is the one.
The preferred plan.
Yes.
We're recommending that we're doing a technical memorandum, you know, you all have that technical memorandum, so we'll be doing this somewhere on that. We'll also be summarizing a lot of that around the sewer capacity
Yeah.
in there.
Okay.
I think the city's done a really good job of looking at tech, being conservative in their analysis on the capacity for the sewer there.
Right.
Even in what your sewer treatment plan has a capacity for this increased demand in this area station.
great news.
Yeah. Is the city gonna design, all this main line up to the lift station, or are you just looking at like, what's your thoughts? Are you thinking phased, in the gravity feed first, or?
Kind of, it depends on cost of everything,
Okay.
and then where, what direction. You know, we go with, I mean, obviously installing a lift station is the most costly part of that project.
Yeah.
So it doesn't look like the eastern portion is gonna develop for a while. Then we might be on just trying to phase it in where we do like a 12-inch main from the Hawthorne, which then has the 8-inch main coming in from the west, which is all gravity. That means the western half could develop, you know, it has direction. It's gonna be driven by where the development is looking to take off first. It'll be designed to the point to where it would be able to feed the entire node. Which phases, you know, construction phasing will probably just be determined by development.
Yeah, you see the Hawthorne and then working with ODOT coming up there on the gravity. The tree line up to the western of going first from a development standpoint.
Tom, I know that, you just heard talk of it, so I don't even know if there's any truth to it, but our water system for Dallas, is it sufficient for this big of a development as well, or is that gonna have to be some upgrades there?
No, I mean, our water system as we've got capacity in it to feed this area as well. You know, obviously, you know, as we grow, you know, we've got to look at, you know, how do we, you know, accommodate the growth. Right now, we have on our capital improvement project list, the addition of another finished water reservoir up James Howe Road. So the more finished water we can put in our system down here, the distribution system. Our plant kind of ebbs and flows of how it operates, you know, it's not running full capacity 24 hours a day. It could, but it doesn't have to.
Yeah.
So if we get more capacity to fill up our finished water and the treated water, it could run a little longer operation at the plant to fill up the bigger capacity within the distribution system. So we've got plenty of treatment capacity. And then we just need to make sure that we have all the capacity in the distribution system. I'd say right now, we're still sitting pretty because we did lose, you know, the mill was a huge draw of water and, you know, it went out. And yes, we've been building, you know, more houses and stuff, but the houses are near the demand of what a mill was.
Right.
I mean, we had 3 large meters going in the mill site. It's gonna take a lot of houses to draw that much capacity as well, but we do have on the books to add another finished water reservoir. So with that, it'll help the distribution system be bigger in capacity with what's able to be distributed.
So to add to what I'm saying, to answer your other question, which I actually worry about is what are we doing on the raw water storage side? So the city knows that as we grow, we're gonna have to add more raw water storage capacity. We use Aaron Emerson Reservoir is about 450 million gallons of water. And on an average year, we can use half of that storage during the summer, like going into the fall before the fall rains come back. Once the fall rains come back, it takes us 2 weeks to fill it up. So 4 months to use it, 2 weeks to fill it. And then everything else just flows into the ocean right after that winter time. So we could certainly build a bigger dam and hold more raw water, rainfall, that would capture and hold through the summer. If we had really high water demand users like a mill site or something similar that used a lot of water, we would have a hard time in drought years in particular of ensuring that they have enough water throughout the year without any curtailment. Even a few years ago, when we were having a drought year, we had the driest April and May, March and April on record. We had a little bit of rain in May and some of June that helped out. We were talking about, you know, drought conditions and there's, you know, there's putting out a phase 1, hey, everyone pay attention, it's a dry year.
Right.
And that got people's, you know, temperatures elevated a little bit in the community. But it brought attention to the issue, right? As you know, there's always so much water, and we want to make sure we have it. In that drought, we still had half the reservoir when the year ended and the rains came back. So I think, you know, to dispel the myths or the rumors that are out there, the city's not running out of water. But we also want to make sure that we give a message to the people when we are in the drought here that, they do have enough water. For when the rains, back that year, the rains came in October, sometimes it's raining until December, so. You know, you just never know, unless you do know, which none of us predict the weather, right? When the rain's gonna come, you have to just make your best conservative care to, that's doing right, so. We are working on expanding our air emission list. We have designed that project to look like in concept. We've selected the site for new reservoir. We know how big it's going to be. Be about 1.3 billion gallons of water. So, you know, about three almost 4 times the size of the current reservoir. It'll be built in the same location as the current one. They'll just be taller, between 15 and 25 feet taller. We have an estimate of what we think it's going to cost, $70 million. The city council has raised rates this year, next year, and the year after, to start saving money towards that project, both for a down payment and debt service. I can take some money, borrow some money to be able to get that done. And we're actively, our applications in right now for the impoundment right? I'll be able to get the water rights to hold that much more water. So it's a several years long process to get that done. But we're well along that process.
And not to mention, we also have basically a shelf-ready project for recycled water, if you ever needed to put something in place there, that helps by being able to supply either for irrigation or industrial use, which then frees up potable water for domestic. So we have a shelf-ready project there.
Yeah, but 10-inch, I think it was 10-inch water line right in.
Yeah, we have 10 inches running down Elledale.
You have water right that's inside and ready for
Yeah,
accessibility is already right there.
we also have a water main with Oak Station and North Valley. That's closer to be right. Start looping into that.
And part of the
Storm, this is actually the only basin that doesn't drain to Creole. It drains through Basket Slough stuff, so but it's already identified in our storm master plan as its own basin and what is the current outflow out of it. And so as development comes, we'll just develop a storm system that will collect, and then the outfall will be in the low point to feed into the existing drainage.
Well, that's exciting. I mean, you guys have, water capacities, that a lot of cities below that have this kind of water capacity. It's not impressive to have.
Yeah, our availability of water, our water is tremendous. We could build 20 air rivers, we fill them all up every year. On average. Now the state's not going to let us do that. But every couple generations you have to rely on rainwater. And an impoundment like the Earth Dam or the dam or reservoir behind it, every couple generations has to bite the bullet and pay for building something new. And this is the time that's this generation and a couple after.
An interesting highlight of that, when we built it in 1958, it cost $238,000, including the environmental impact statement.
Zero.
So we're actively engaged with the state regulatory agencies, environmental groups. So we're attacking it on.
Any more questions on the sewer, water? That's really great. Well, the second thing that we have on the agenda is ground the preferred recommendation for full work. And we would like the TAC to, you know, do that and get all the comments back to Charlie and Chase by June 16th. And then we'll include a summary on that. We'll issue this technical memorandum, and we'll also be issuing 2 more technical memorandums, which will be after the public open house. That'll be around the preferred plan, and then also on the comp plan, land development code changes that will come out. So we'd like you to take some time, you know, over the next week. If you have any comments, suggestions, please email those back to Carly and Chase, and we'll review those and incorporate those and have that also available for the public open house that we'll be having in August. Any questions around the memorandum? Okay, the last thing we have today is just, we've worked with the city. They've been promoting the public open house, which will be August 2nd. I think it's going to be during the council chambers here from 4 to 6, and we will be presenting to the public the preferred concept number 4 option to the community, answering any questions around the preferred comment here. Do about a 2-hour open house here for the public to come in, for property owners, people living in the area that would have any questions around the new proposed changes. We hope you can all attend there. Alex is going to.
I'm gonna be gone, sorry.
Zoom from Greece.
Yeah, right.
So we're having there.
What a buddy.
Pretty short meeting today, but appreciate participation in there. It's really shaking this up. It's a great committee opportunity to be done. Happy to answer any questions too.
I've got a question about how this process will go into the TSP creation or update process. What do you have a schedule for the TSP update yet? Or-
So we are still at God's mercy on this one. They're all with us funding our CSP and have not gotten a date from us to let that funding be released.
No, I haven't, I anticipate that, you know, from the city's, you know, leading department on this effort. This will be done well in advance of, you know, that being finished, but hopefully we'll have the TSP started. By the time we wrap this up, because we can dovetail this work, the good work everyone here is doing into the CSP update. I think the timing of that makes sense. It would be, I think, bad to have it been done the other way. It was to the CSP done and then have this work come out afterwards. So this work will help really inform the CSP. But that update is good done. So you'll need to know have their capacity. It's kind of nice not to have that planning process moving at the same time. We're stretched and doing a lot of work right now. So
Yeah, that makes sense. The city of Salem had our Salem land use planning last year, and their TSP isn't starting until this year or later. So it definitely makes sense to have the transportation follow. I guess my biggest question about this is, you know, the opportunity of creating that Kings Valley Highway link into town and maybe making them more of a major thoroughfare than Ellendale. If that's a reality that the community is in favor of, then I think the whole configuration of Ellendale would be quite different than
yes.
if it was the thoroughfares.
Right, and I think that's will be the question from the city, right? Especially with ODOT doing their Highway 22 and Creole interchange project. You know, closing off the southbound Creole connection, cycling that over to Kings Valley Highway and 22 intersection and creating a roundabout there. So it'll be a safer intersection. The 22 interchange and Kings Valley Highway, making it more attractive for people in town that way. It's wider, there are less driveway approaches onto Kings Valley Highway than it was town. there are a lot of advantages to using 2.3 as a compared to the town. As well as they're not making any turning movements off of, you know, like you have to turn off Belledale to get into parts of the city. You don't have to do that with the Kingsway Highway, right? It takes you right into the downtown, to where you can eventually exit into anywhere from the downtown area. So we'll be making a push on that. We had the ODOT person here last time. I didn't see the person in charge.
It was really good. City was being proactive with this, you know, and then talking about the concerns of moving that traffic up King Highway, you know, so really kind of leading that discussion with ODOT, you know, so, you know, getting out in front of it instead of like doing the TSP and then trying to work with ODOT, right? I think, right, there's got a lot of success to your point, they're understanding.
Yeah, so it was nice to have him here last time, and I think he was pleasantly surprised they were doing the way we were talking. So I also think that he doesn't feel that Ellendale, as it's in the current CSP, is the right solution, so I anticipate seeing was it a 4-lane road concept? 3. It's, I think it's more than that, and it isn't CSP. Yeah, so the current CSP is a 4-lane road. I think that he sees the wisdom in that not being in the future, bringing it back down to maybe a 3-lane, 2 lanes at center. And then having Kingsway having be the future. That requires, though, to me, it requires improvements, further to the east on Highway 22, right? When Brian Dalton was the former mayor, he would often talk to me about we need a sign change out there, encourage people to go, further in, and that will be part of the conversation with them to say, hey, we're going to make this improvement. We really need to change the signage so that we are directing more people up to this safe, now safer intersection, so that way we're not putting so much demand and have 1 million. We have to.
Well, you can see all these crosswalks, for instance, that we have on Ellendale, which is trying to create more. Every once in a while, some car runs over our crosswalk at great expense.
3 times.
3 times.
It seems like this might be the case of, if you build it, will they come? Just because you build a better road, does it mean people will use it? There's an awful lot of people habituated to Ellendale currently. Even if you change the sign out there, will you change it in Google Maps too?
Right.
Apple Map?
There's a lot of things that take place, and things that change slowly last long, right? And I think getting the changes, I would expect something to you won't have the change behavior
Certainly.
for several years. Because right now you are literally directing everyone coming up from Salem towards Dallas to get off on Ellendale. There is no sign that says if you continue down this road, you can still get to Dallas. So by converting this to a sign that says, hey, Dallas next to be exits, right, or next 2 exits. They can go out here, they can go down further. Business exit, next exit, stuff like that. There's things you can do that will encourage people to start going. You're not going to break the habits of everyone that really goes out now. If they can always another way, something where they're heading down over time, will develop new habits.
A number of the properties are outside the city limits, they're in the UGB, but they're outside the city limits. Is that going to pose any challenges that might slow this up, or is it for master planning and utility work, for instance?
Not master planning, not for utility work. All that can be done, just by the city, right? We're looking in the future, lift station, depending on how development would occur. If we need to put that lift station in and this one's maintenance, we could do that whether or not it's outside city limits. But if for development, it's more the builds, they would have to annex first and then build.
Any other questions? Well, thank you. Please let everyone know about the public schooling house. Meeting of once and meetings on Monday. A lot of factors. All your help, Jake, and then I can. Oh, no. Thank you.